A high chance for development in the Gulf of Mexico. We are looking out for what could be a strong storm impacting Florida within 5 to 6 days. Good evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Chris Justice. I want to keep you up to date on what's happening in the tropics, so if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. A good opportunity to do that right now. I am dedicated to keeping you safe when it comes to severe weather. Anything that comes our way, whether it be big snow, big hurricanes, I'm going to let you know and shoot you straight along the way. So what are the models showing tonight? Let's break it down here for you. The bottom line looks like this. A Gulf storm is now highly likely. Florida impacts are possible by Tuesday. And when I say impacts, I don't know what those impacts look like yet. I'm a straight shooter when it comes to forecasting. I will only tell you what I do know. I won't pontificate on what I don't know, but I can tell you based on the guidance that I see right now, impacts are possible by Tuesday. The models disagree on how strong those impacts could be, but I'll show them to you here in just a minute. The models do show this moving quickly northeast on Wednesday and Thursday toward the Georgia-Carolina coastline, where it looks like it'll strengthen again as it pulls away from the United States. And again, the models disagree on strength. Some are stronger, some are a bit weaker. We do have a lot of activity going on right now in the Atlantic. You see a lot of highlighted areas right now, but none of those look to threaten the United States. We're keeping a close eye on them, but as I look closer at the Caribbean Sea, you got a cluster of thunderstorms developing right in here. And as that begins to move toward the north, I'll be watching that area very closely for development, especially later on this weekend as it pulls out of the Caribbean Sea into the Gulf. This is an area that I've been highlighting since Monday that I feared we could have some development. Just a lot of action going on down that way in an area that has a tremendous amount of heat energy. I've been showing you this map since June. Anything that gets in and around this area in the darker colors is trouble because it has fuel to work with. High octane fuel, if you ask me. We are watching Tropical Storm Franklin. It is intensifying. It's a bit disorganized, and you see the axis, the center of circulation, all the storms are to the right of it. It's disorganized right now, but it won't stay like that for long. The models do show this strengthening into a stronger Cat 2 hurricane as it could threaten Bermuda, several hundred miles away from the United States, so that's certainly some good news. But let's map out impacts that could come from this system in the Gulf later this weekend into early next week. I'll pause it here Monday morning. That's likely when we have a named tropical system. Could happen before that, but it's not a big of a deal as when we get to Monday, because then it's beginning to move quickly to the north. And that's something that is probably going to be on our side, as it is a fast-moving storm. It's likely to try to be intensifying every minute that it's moving north, but because it's moving so quickly, it kind of runs out of time before it hits land. That's what I'm hoping will happen, but I am fearful that you'll have a strengthening storm on approach for Florida. This is the European model. It shows a strengthening tropical storm making landfall somewhere north of Tampa. But as you see from my wind streams here, Tampa Bay, Sarasota, surrounding areas could have quite a bit of storm surge concerns and brief heavy rainfall. The good news, again, this is a fast mover. Most of our impacts with tropical storms and hurricanes that make landfall are from flooding. This would move so quickly that hopefully that would be mitigated to some degree. This looks to quickly move into Georgia by Wednesday, and here we are Wednesday at 11 p.m. It's off the coast of Hilton Head Island. Strengthening is likely a stronger hurricane there, but it's pulling away. Even though it's a strong hurricane, it's about 100 miles offshore, and the heaviest wind and rain would be several hundred miles out to shore on that right front quadrant of the storm. So even if that were to happen, we'd be watching it closely, but we would be spared from the worst of it. And in the western Carolinas, Asheville, Greenville, Atlanta, Charlotte, we're sitting pretty, probably dry, breezy, and cooler. It's going to yank down cooler air from the north to where highs could be in the 70s for a couple of days next week, well below average temperatures. Why are we concerned about this? Well, if you have a strengthening system on approach, there goes the system moving near Bermuda, Franklin. We're going to be watching that closely. It's pulling away, though, but we are concerned about this pulling toward Florida. It's in an area that has very ripe conditions. It's going to be moving quickly, so it's caught up in the jet stream. That wind shear, twisting and turning of winds in the atmosphere, may prevent this from strengthening that much. it'll also be making it move quickly. So that tells me a couple of things. When it's caught up in the jet stream and moving quickly, it's likely going to be lopsided to the right. Most of the activity or storms or rain is going to be on the right side of the storm. It normally is anyway, but especially in a situation like this, it'd be more north and right in the setup there, because the jet stream will push most of that activity in that direction. All right, so 7:30 in the morning, you got very strong winds moving through Tampa, Sarasota. My friends there, I've got family up and down from Panama City Beach to Tampa to Sarasota, so they're dialed in. I'm dialed in, of course, watching it for you. And then it goes up toward Georgia, South Carolina, where it will likely strengthen again, but pulling away. And in this map explains it really well. Likely gusty winds on the Charleston coast, Savannah coast as well, but the stronger hurricane force winds or tropical storm force winds in this scenario would be well out to sea. But a fascinating storm to watch nonetheless. That'd be Wednesday evening, Thursday into Friday. It's pulling away from the United States. Another way to look at this, the rain. Again, rain's the most dangerous thing. It causes inland flooding, and in this case, you get a whole bunch of rain in a short period of time. But that looks to be on the order of 1.5 to 2.5 inches for areas like Central Florida, where Orlando is. It's going to be a rough day there Wednesday. So if you're heading down to theme parks, you'll probably have a rough park day. However, it's doable, it's manageable. But look at the rainfall track with that. It's quick, it's moving quickly. So 3.5, 4, 5 inches of rain along that track. But the worst of that stays out of South Carolina. And would be just offshore. So yeah, Charleston could get 2.5 inches of rain, but we can handle that. And most of this activity from Greenville and Asheville would be from the front approaching and not from the hurricane or tropical system approaching. The European model, definitely the most bullish out of this. You see Franklin, a very strong hurricane, Cat 2. Then you got this, likely a tropical depression by Sunday, becoming a tropical storm, if not a hurricane, making landfall in Florida, then quickly moving north. That's the European scenario. Let me show you the GFS scenario. It's much different. It is much weaker. It shows a strong Franklin right here, an area of low pressure, maybe a wave or a low-end tropical depression or storm. It moves it northeast bound as a blob of moisture over Florida and then kind of keeps it away. It shows high wind shear from that jet stream that's dipping down, tearing it apart and not giving it a chance. It's possible that that does have happened, but more than likely we're looking at somewhere in the middle. The European's kind of a little bullish right now. The GFS is a little weak, so we're probably looking at something coming our way, and we need to watch that closely. Idalia will likely be the name of that system unless one of those creatures in the middle of the Atlantic get named first. So again, I'm watching this very closely for you, and I will continue to do that. And again, my philosophy is to shoot you straight when it comes to forecasting. So please subscribe right now if you have not already. It'd be a great time to check in, hit the notifications button, and I will let you know anytime severe weather, severe storms, whether it be tornadoes, hurricanes, or snowstorms are threatening, and I will keep you posted around the clock.